Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to LSRTV's continuing coverage of the 2016 Roddcar Truck Tour on iRacing Live. And tonight we get right back at it under the lights at the Kansas Speedway into Sunflower State for the Kansas 125 for round number 12 of 18 in the 2016 Roddcar Truck Tour campaign. And as always, we're happy to have you with us right here on LSRTV as we get set for the first of two pieces of racing action tonight for LSRTV's Friday night doubleheader. My name is Evan Pasoko, joined topside Andy Kessler, Josh Ball, and down in the production trailer tonight, Cisco Scaramouza getting us on the air tonight. And Andy, Kansas is a very interesting racetrack. I like it because it's different, not because I'm good at it. You ride up on the outside of the racetrack. It's one of the more interesting things about this track. Somewhat to what you'll see at a Bristol on the real world side of things, not as much on the sim, but rim riding at this place makes you walk a very fine line over the course of the race. And we have 83 laps of competition up on board tonight. I think the biggest thing tonight is going to be just not making any major mistakes and hoping that at the end of the night you got the right side of that racetrack on the side of you, because it is going to be interesting with these guys rim riding around the top of the Kansas Speedway. It's always fun and it's a unique challenge. I think this race could be one of the ones that we're going to see out of the next 6 or 7 we still have to go in 2016 that might lend a small advantage to some of the series veterans who are used to being that close to being up into the fence but knowing how to balance it well.
Yeah, being up into the fence is it's one of those tricky things to begin with. It doesn't matter which track you're at. A lot of guys like to use that high side, get that momentum. The problem is at Kansas, that's about the only fastest way around this track. You'll see some guys in the first couple laps with the fresh tires try that bottom, and they'll probably be able to make it work with a couple passes. But once those tires wear in after a couple laps, it absolutely does not work. You'll see these guys pushing up off the corner. So right in that high side, that is the speed, and that's typically what you'll see at a Bristol. We saw this past week is everybody riding that high side makes it so tough to pass. Well, this place is about 3 times the size of Bristol, and it's still the same exact way to race there.
And the inside is wide open here under a green flag run. So you can try the bottom of the racetrack. It might not work, but there's always that ability to try to do something, Josh. And, as the driver, you got a lot more seat time than us. What is the biggest challenge at the Kansas Speedway? Obviously, we know that when you're that close to the fence, any sort of small mistake is going to be amplified. What is the strategical advantage, though, that you can have at a track like this?
If you're staying up towards the top of the track, you're definitely going to get a better run down the straightaways, and that's where a lot of the passing is going to start. Everybody's going to either get down to the bottom of somebody going into each corner, or able to clear somebody on the high side getting off the corner. So that's the really biggest advantage of running the high line at these tracks and getting the most speed you can.
Qualifying right now goes into the works. 5-minute open queue session. Your provisional pole sitter, James Pileski. Just about a minute and some change left until we head down to the grid. So we'll toss things down trackside to get tonight's action underway. We'll pass it down to Jaded Berkey with the performance of tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er
Back live at the Kansas Speedway. Big thanks to the virtual Thunderbirds for the flyover this evening. And as always, to Jaden Berkey for the performance of tonight's national anthem. The qualifying clock strikes 0, and we are set for round number 12 on the 2016 Roddcar Truck Tour Championship. Let's take a look trackside at LSRTV starting grid. The third fastest driver in practice and your provisional pole sitter was able to hang on through the final minute of qualifying, a 30.264. Good enough to put James Pileski on the top of the pile. He'll bring us to take the green flag in tonight's Kansas 125. And another series veteran going to join him on the front row. You'll find that 26 Rod flag rolling from P2. Just behind him, inside to row number 2, the number 3 spot, going to go to the fastest driver in practice, Seth the Merchant. Always a force to be reckoned with. In fact, he's second in the championship into tonight's run with already 2 trips to victory lane on the season. Mark Jorgensen Jr. behind the wheel of the 88 will join him in row 2, starting P4, and then to round out your top 5, a good Q effort for Dana Osborne, the number 8, going to be inside the 3.
Ryan Pilon starts 6th tonight after a second place practice. Unfortunate for him. Christian Peterson 7th, Corey Henry 8th, Brandon Chaburko 9th, and Rodney Wofford starts 10th.
Just behind in the number 11 spot, you'll find Shane McEachin back quick alongside the number 89. We'll start in 12th position. Glenn Hedrick, number 13 spot for him. 14th tonight for the 34 to Sean Boundy. At 13 to Kelly Dahl will round out your top 15.
Dingleberry Motorsports, Ray Rittenauer starts 16th, Jared Haggerty 17th, Larry Kemp, last car to take time, will start 18th, and then Chris Bassini on the rear end of the field starts 19th.
And it looks like all 19 trucks in the sim are going to be on the grid for tonight's race, so we'll have 10 rows of truck action coming to the green flag. Let's take a look at the specifics of this Kansas Speedway. We talked about the unique line that you have to take around here. Outside of that, it sounds like your conventional 1.5 intermediate racetrack. 1.5 miles in length, 4 turns. The big thing is the banking in the corners, 17 degrees, Josh, on the bottom of the racetrack, and 20 degrees up on the outside. The progressive banking is the biggest thing to note. Front stretch also 9 degrees on the bottom, 11 degrees on the outside, 5 down the back straightaway. But that 3-degree differential between riding on the white line at the bottom and up against the white wall at the top is what gives that outside the big advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Just like we had last week at Chicagoland, the bottom was the key for the first couple laps. Definitely able to go full throttle there. Here is probably going to be the key for the first couple laps, but that outside groove is going to come in. You're going to see most of the guys out there trying to save some tires, get some long runs going. But I think once the run goes on, outside you're going to see prevail.
And you're going to see him going all the way down to that apron in the opening lap, if not a couple of laps. But eventually, they'll have to settle in line. And once we get to that point, it's going to be very difficult to execute passing here. So the qualifying tonight, one of the more important ones we'll see throughout the season. The pace car down and away. We're happy to have you with us for race number 1 on the evening on LSRTV and iRacing Live. The pace car's gone. The green flag waves and underway for the Kansas Speedway for the Kansas 125. And a great jump for the entire field down to turn number 1. James Pileski with the obvious advantage on the inside of the racetrack. 3 wide we go up the middle. Mark Jorgensen. It's Rod Flag who's going backwards in that third lane. 3 wide down the back.
Jorgensen not taking any chances this week. Had the best truck last week, couldn't get it done. He's like, get out of the way, Rod Flag. I want to get to the point as fast as possible. Still 3 wide as we come out of 4.
And they're 3 wide, a couple of rows deep when they went into turn 3. So far, though, still Rod Flag, the only driver that's really kind of got stuck up there in no man's land. The 28 machine had an opportunity to force the issue to the middle. Shane McEachin does allow that 26 Rod Flag to stay in front of it. So we double file things out, but it's interesting because the inside, as you talked about, the big run off the corner, it's not a good place to pass in the middle of a long stretch. You saw that 93 of James Pileski had an advantage on Seth the Merchant, but lost so much speed at a turn 2. No issues for the 32 to get in front of him, and the 93 slides up in line. So that time by lap 2 goes to the books. DeMerchant, Pileski, Jorgensen 1, 2, and 3. Even P4 for Ryan Pilon. They're single filed out. And then you see Dana Osborne, the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet on the bottom. Realizes that's not going to work, and he gets up in line as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rod Flag is the biggest loser so far. Lost 4 positions since the green flag, back to 6th spot. He's kind of settled in there, though. He's riding right behind Ryan Pilon right now in the 5th position. Looking, battle for the lead, though, up front. Pileski says, all right, it's time to give it back, Seth the Merchant. You were gone last week. This is my track now. Oh, gets on into
Oh,
he turns him sideways.
They all get sideways. 2, 3 trucks. There they go.
Oh, the big one.
Track going to get blocked at a turn number 2.
My.
And the big one on just lap number 4. Seth the Merchant, I was just about to note, second in the championship standings. That's going to take a hit for the second time in a row, and that is big junk coming at a turn number 2, and it looked like, Josh, they might have been able to hang on to it. The issue for the guys on the inside of the racetrack is that they just can't keep that truck down. There's no grip. It's going to push up. He got out of the gas. He got that 32 in the left rear, and they had a slight opportunity, I think, to get through. Just the 41, the 26 had nowhere to go, got into them, and at that point, the track was completely blocked. And, yeah, that's pretty big junk. We had multiple trucks go up and over, and that's at least half the field there. That's pretty torn up.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it. Pretty much every truck has damage. The only ones I see that don't are 3 of them, the 3, the 34, and the 71. The 3 has a little damage from that initial restart, but otherwise, everybody there pretty much got damaged. Now, you got to take a look if we can get a replay going here. The onboard of the 88 of Jorgensen, he barely got through that. He got a little bit of damage, but, man, I don't know how he got around that right there. But everybody's coming down pit road right now, Evan, everybody's got to get damage repair, really.
Yeah, Jorgensen got a little bit of damage on the left front, but he'll definitely have the best view. We'll try to get that to you in a moment, but right now the driver's down trackside and getting service, and the 88 overshoots the pit stall on entry. Got to shift it in the reverse a little bit. The good news is he doesn't have to stay down for nearly as much damage repair as some of the other guys that are going to have to, but he gets 4 tires on it. It is going to cost him some time. You see the race off in a pit lane, not going to go to him. He only loses 1 spot, not that bad, but it looks like the number 28 machine on the outside of the racetrack, Shane McKeechan, going to win the battle off of the pit lane. Right now, his number 87 Chevrolet stays out. He'll provisionally go to the race lead.
Yeah, and most of these guys had to take damage repair. And you're going to finally see that onboard I was just talking about here a minute ago. Mark Jorgensen Jr. barely getting through that. Got a little bit of damage on the front left nose there of his truck, but wow, I can't believe he made it through that with realistically not too much damage. I'm sure it's not going to hurt his truck too much, but that was a crazy accident to start out the night, Evan. And most of these guys are torn up. Really, 4 trucks maybe have enough damage that isn't really going to hurt them. The 28, the 88, the 3, and possibly the 34 of Sean Boundy. Just all up really. Couple of them got lucky, and a couple were in the back. Bassini, one that started shotgun on the field, he just probably braked the rookie there. He just was like, I'm just going to stop on the backstretch. So he was able to get around it too, but everybody else behind them is going to have damage. A lot of guys still on pit road. We're only going 5 rows deep. Currently see 9 trucks out there as they line up 2 by 2.
And that is also with the lights off on top of the pace car. So we're going to be going green this time by a couple of guys on the pit lane right now. They're going to hustle up, catch up to the back, but obviously they're not going to be at 100%. And they're going to try to get that damage fixed as the night goes on. It looked like Jorgensen got a good amount of the damage fixed in the left front of that truck. Your control truck, though, for the restart, Shane McKeechan, his front end has a pretty good bit of damage, so we'll see how that affects the number 28 Havoline Toyota, as he will be out in the clean air, and he'll bring us to the first American Ethanol green flag restart on the evening. Pace car get it up to the wayside, sitting with 13 trucks on the lead lap after an opening 5-lap big one at a turn number 2. Let's see how it shakes out. It's 4 tires and gas for everybody up in the front of the field. Green flag waves, and back at it we go. 3 wide. The 3 in Chaburko. He'll go to that inside third lane. 3 wide we go for the race lead. Nobody backing out of it. And the big winner on the inside going to be that number 3 truck. Can he get clear of them all? He gets in front of the 28. He gets in front of the 88. It looks like Chaburko leads the way down the back.
A very aggressive move by that 3. Now he has to drop down to the bottom lane there to block Shane McKeechan. Looked like he was going to look to the inside there just for a moment. And those 2 are going to battle it off now off of turn number 4. Pretty good battle. 3 wide even behind them. Sean Bounty, the 71, and the 1 of Chris Bassini all involved in that battle for that 4th position. Chris Bassini will back out of it. Look at Shane McKeachin though for that lead. Way to the bottom, and now he's going to push up the racetrack. Man, that was close right there for that lead.
You want to talk about not giving somebody any more room than you need to. Lap truck going to hold the top side. Seth Merchant takes the preferred lane away from Chaburko. The slide job. McKeachin goes too high. He'll get into the fence, come down over the nose of Brandon Chaburko. The 28, he'll wobble in the grass, and he will hang on. A hard hit to the inside wall. Brandon Chaburko going to go down onto the pit lane. It looks like he's able to keep it off of the fence, but he does have a lot of damage from going down through the grass. No caution. We stay green. And somehow, in all of that, for the 2nd time in a row, Josh, Mark Jorgensen Jr. watches the 2 trucks in front of him take each other out.
Yeah, I saw his cue come up there on the screen, and he was like, hey, guys, thanks for just clearing the field once again for me. Back out in front. He's got really no challengers at this point, Sean Bounty, but that was just unfortunate there for the 28 of Shane McKeachin and Brandon Chaburko. Brandon got the most of it. I think he got a black flag there, got a bit of damage. Shane McKeachin, luckily, doesn't seem to have too much. He was able to spin it down there and save it in the grass. So no caution, though. Here we have to have at least 3 cars to throw a manual caution in the Roddcar Truck Tour. That was only 2. You'll be seeing the replay hopefully go up here in a second in case anybody missed it. As you see Chaburko and McKeachin just get into each other there and slide down through the grass and into pit road. Unfortunately, you know, unless we get another caution here, we only got about 10 cars on the lead lap. It might be the end of their night.
So we regroup, we go back at it, and Jorgensen now finds himself 0.4 of a second in front of Sean Bounty, who wants the battle for the race lead. The 34, 18th best in practice, improved to 14th best in qualifying, is running second, just 13 laps into the Kansas 125. And we know that at Kansas, the outside, the place you want to be, Andy, but we know that the inside is wide open if you want to try it. It was a great move that we saw in that battle for the race leader by Shane McKeachin to make. I think Chaburko, though, went for the crossover, might have rubbed him on the back end. I'm not sure if that helped Shane up the hill a little bit, but he got into the fence, came down. Not really over-aggressive racing that we saw last week. That was a good, hard battle. I think a little bit too much contact than they would have liked. They were putting on a show. The worst news for both of them, and obviously Brandon Chaburko, is that there was no yellow. McKeachin, he's doing okay. He's back in P8. He did lose a lot of time, got a little bit more damage. I mentioned he already had a little bit of damage on the front end of that truck. He's hoping for a yellow to try to get that thing patched back up and get back going. He's 8.3 seconds off of Jorgensen.
Yeah, that's that accident right there is exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the race, where you try that bottom side and literally that truck gets so tight coming off the corner, you literally cannot control it from pushing up the racetrack like it did. And that's exactly what happened to Shane McKeachin right there. Once he got into the wall, though, that was it. Made some contact, and the 2 of them went for a ride. But that's what it was, trying to be bold with the fresh tires, going to the bottom side. And it just shows you right there that the bottom side does not work. It's so tough to make it work, to try to get that pass. And you might be able to do it for a lap, but you can see right there, forcing the issue. That's exactly what happened. So that was a tough break there for those 2 guys, and it just shrinks that field that much more now.
And I think the big thing is not only does the inside just not work speed-wise, but the truck just doesn't stay down. So you're slow, the truck starts pushing up the racetrack, and it's just a whirlwind of a headache for those guys. And that's why you see everybody, they settle into a rhythm up at the top of the racetrack. Jorgensen, Bounty, Peterson, 1, 2, and 3. Look at the 41 of Ryan Pilen, 3 wide. What a move as he splits the gap, bounding into the fence. He'll bobble and hang on. The 34 losing tons of momentum after he brushed up on the turn 4 wall. And somehow Ryan Pilen going to find an opening to move into the number 2 spot. And now a 3-truck battle for third behind him, led by Christian Peterson, quick all the way to the inside.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, that started all with Sean Bounty. He got a little bit tight coming out of turn 4 and unfortunately got just barely up into that wall and stacked everybody up, allowed Ryan Pilen to go around all of those trucks and take second away. But really the biggest winner in all that, Mark Jorgensen Jr. once again gets out to now almost a second and a half lead or more over second place Ryan Pilen. He's pretty much having the luck on his side tonight so far, Indy.
Yeah, he's going to be hoping that that continues. Now, 18 laps in, Bounty getting a little bit tight again off the corner. Matt Quick going to go to the inside, using that the tri-oval rather on the inside, where you can go down a really wide apron on the front stretch as well. Plenty of room for the 89 to dive in, and you have to pull that slide job a little bit, slide up in front. The crossover from Bounty will go back at it side by side. It's a battle for the number 4 spot, but the 34 doesn't have a lot of momentum going into turn number 3. That should give the advantage back to the number 89 Matt Quick on the outside of the racetrack. And you see the do your part entry just can't hold it on the inside. And Matt Quick going to be able to retain the number 4 spot. Sean Bounty now falling back to the number 5 spot. And in all of that and all the excitement in the battle for second on back, Jorgensen now over 2 seconds in front of the rest of the field up at the front of the field, and right now not having to deal with any battles from behind. The track is nice and clear out in front of him. His biggest concern now is just to get into a rhythm, because again, that close up to the outside of the racetrack, right in the fence, if you stay on the gas a little bit too long, if you don't get on the brakes for maybe 1 or 2 tenths of a second sooner than you should have, it's very easy to find yourself up there. So Jorgensen tries to get in a rhythm. Meanwhile, the guys behind can't seem to figure out who's going to run where. Great move by Peterson to the inside. He takes B2 back from the 41.
That's exactly how you have to make the passes here. Is coming off the corner, get that run, get to the inside, but then the whole key is getting them cleared before you get back into that next corner, and Christian Peterson was able to do that, get up to the high side of the track once again, and now look at him go here as he starts to pull away from Ryan Pilen now, about 8-10 truck lengths now, and Pilen's got his mirror full now with Matt Quick as they head back to turn number 1.
Matt Quick does not want to give this one up. We mentioned that he started in the number 12 spot, and he's one of the bigger movers so far. And Pilen, again, really wasn't showing a lot of speed, Josh, as far as to challenge Peterson, to challenge Quick. He was running in the number 4 spot. Bounty was up there as well. They got in a little bit of trouble after the 34 caught the fence. The 41 running his line, had a big run of speed and got up to P2. Race trim, though, I think Peterson is a little bit quicker. The 71 indeed up in front of the championship standings, and now set to merge it with another poor night right now, running P12 and 2 laps down. The 71 looking to gain big things here in that 6-man motorsport. Chevrolet running into the number 2 spot again.
Yeah, he's just out there grinding away. You know, he's up to second place. I mean, that's really one of the best places you can be after those two wrecks that really took out most of the front of the field. Jorgensen just started pulling away from everybody, still pulling away from Peterson at this point, 2.7 seconds now in front. You know, he's pretty much just surviving Peterson. He's got a fast truck, but also, you know, he survived the 2 big ones, basically. And he's put himself in a great position. And like you said, Seth Merchant, after missing last week and then getting involved in that wreck, sitting P12 right now, he is definitely looking to gain some more points tonight on Seth. And I don't know, you know, really not too many contenders out there. Otherwise, you got only 6 trucks within 5 seconds of each other. You got 3 other ones that are pretty much well off the pace. The 87, Ray Rittenauer, Shane McKeechin, and Brandon Schaberko, all over 15 seconds back. So really, we could be in a spot for a really long green run here.
And that's the objective at a track like this. Get spread out and get a spot. Get some space between you. Christian Peterson, he's in a good spot right now. 2.5 seconds behind Jorgensen. Sure, he'd like that gap to be a little bit closer, but he's an entire 1.5 seconds in front of the battle behind him. That sees now Ryan Pilen again under attack by Matt Quick. Second time tonight, the 89 uses that front straightaway to swing to the inside and slot up in front back in turn number 1. A great move by Matt Quick, Andy. Second time he's done that, and both times very textbook, getting himself back onto a podium spot.
Yep, he did exactly what he needs to do to make the pass, exactly what Christian Peterson did over Ryan Pilen just about 5 or 6 laps ago as well. So that's the move. You got to get that run off the corner and get him clear, getting into the corner. He did just that. He's done it twice now, so he's getting down the passing part pretty good. But that's good to see that 89 running as well as he is here tonight. Obviously, a lot of the field got crashed out, but still, he's showing a lot of speed. I think with all those trucks in there, he still would have been climbing through the field. So Matt Quick doing a great job here early on.
So we'll take this opportunity as we begin to stretch out on a green flag run with 9 trucks on a lead lap at lap number 27 of 83 to step away and take a quick break of our own. And when we come back, pit stop's going to be coming into sight for the first time this evening. In front of the field at the Kansas Speedway, Mark Jorgensen Jr. He leads the way through the opening laps of the Kansas 125. You're watching the Roddcar Truck Tour on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Since 2010, the highest echelon of sim racing competition has focused on NASCAR and Grand Prix racing. 50 of the best drivers in the world doing battle for championship glory. Each man for himself, and even though there may be teammates on track, each driver is in command of his own destiny. Until now. 2016 sees the start of a new era in World Championship competition, with team racing getting its chance in the spotlight. No longer can one driver rule supreme, but you must rely on those with whom you share a car, a setup, a strategy. Endurance racing can be very different to other forms of motorsports, with races in this series lasting either 3 or 6 hours. Teams of 2 or 3 drivers, perhaps on opposite sides of the world, will share seat time, each having to collectively work towards one common goal. Crash out, and it's not just you who you let down. Officially sanctioned by SRO, it will be teams of drivers who will go head to head, car to car, rival to rival, in the pursuit of a championship. And there's over $25,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. Some of the world's biggest sim racing teams are represented. There's also a group of teams who haven't seen this stage before, who want to make their mark and say we can hang with the best. The team racing revolution is here. It's loud, it's exciting, and it lives on iRacing Live, starting April 23rd.
We're back live at the Kansas Speedway. Pit stops underway. Couple of drivers down to pit side at the moment. Matt Quick's number 89 Chevrolet taking off now. Lap 34 in the works. Just 4 drivers left on the lead lap that have yet to come down for service. Jorgensen, Peterson, Aboundy, and a Pilot. Going to be those 4 drivers that have yet to come down. Everybody else, Bassini, McEachin, and company, they have all trickled in for service. But even with that being said, all the way through 11th position, you'll find the guys within 2 laps of the lead lap. There are a fair amount of trucks, though I'd say just 1 or 2 shy of being half the field, Andy, that have already found themselves out of tonight's race, which kind of plays into what we were thinking we would see tonight at a long green flag stretch. Obviously, if you take a lot of trucks out of the equation, you'll see these guys spread out a lot more, and that's what you're seeing right now, but the closest battle for position being over 2 seconds apart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what happened with that big wreck. It's just, it takes out half of the competition when you do that. These guys get spread out, and then that's all said and done, and they're going to be even more spread out after these green flag pit stops as well. And I like the call of some of those guys coming down a little bit earlier than our leaders, Mark Jorgensen and Christian Peterson, because that's going to give them the opportunity now to gain up some of that time that they had lost during that run to with the fresh tires, being out there on the track running faster laps than these guys. So it's going to be fun to see where that 88 ends up once he does come down pit road, because I'll tell you what, that 34 and 41, they still, looks like they still have to make their pit. But I want to watch Matt Quick there when he comes back out on the when everybody else starts pitting, see where he ends up, because I really think that truck with those fresh tires, you might be talking about that 89 leading for a bit.
Lap 31, lap 32 or so, Josh, is when we started to see the guys that have completed service now begin to come down to the pit lane. Those numbers would tell me they're going for a two-stop strategy. Jorgensen, though, stretching it out with 83 laps of competition tonight. If he can go 3 more laps, he'd make it to the halfway point. And as we say that, we mentioned how you got to get in a rhythm and don't make mistakes. Jorgensen pounds the wall pretty hard that time at a turn number 4. Do you think these guys are going for a one-stop strategy versus a 2?
At this point, after pounding that wall there, I'm assuming that he's either going to take it easy a little bit or he's going to come down pit road. But I honestly think the 88-71 are definitely going on the two-stop strategy. It looks like he might be slowing down a little more this time. Nope, he's going to stay out there. He's just going for that two-stop strategy at this point. I don't know. That might be a good idea, might be a bad idea, but we'll see, really. These guys are definitely falling off on times. You know, with the qualifying times in the even 30s last lap, Jorgensen ran a 2.5 seconds slower, basically. So definitely a big fall off here. So it'll be interesting to see how the new tires versus old tires are hold up.
This next time by, Jorgensen at the front of the field, who did lose 0.8 of a second, I will mention, from getting into the fence that time, is going to find himself in an interesting spot, because he will have to decide if he wants to get any sort of that damage repaired when he comes down to the pit lane. 1 lap shy, though, of making it to the halfway marker. And then you have to wonder, Andy, with the 88 machine, this is a rather short race. It's just 83 laps in total distance. You have to wonder if some of these other guys that pitted on what we assume is a two-stop strategy come down around lap 30, if they'd be able to stretch it on that being their final stop if they need to.
Yeah, but that would have put him at the disadvantage, because when Jorgensen gets back out there with those fresh tires, he'll be able to make it to the end, and I really think that will put those guys at a disadvantage. So it's really a game of cat and mouse, who's going to try what. And at this point, with how many trucks are on the lead lap before that green flag pit stop, that's going to dictate, obviously, how this thing goes. And some of those guys towards the back of the top 10 that were left on the lead lap, it was a good strategy call to come in a little bit early and maybe try a two-stop. So it's a good call, I think, by those guys. We'll just have to see how it falls into play here.
The Pyland came in right at the halfway point. Here comes Mark Jorgensen. Peterson in behind. He'll lock it up, and I think he got it slowed down in time. Sean Boundy will remain the only driver out, still on the tires and still on the fuel since that first pit stop in the opening laps of this race. I would expect him to come down this next time, if not in the next few laps, because you look at it, about a 2-second fall off, Josh, between the guys that were running out there right now that just came in second time in a row. Jorgensen overshoots the pit stall. He's still not in. That's really bad.
Wow, yeah, Jorgensen having a tough trouble down there on pit road the last couple of weeks. Just couldn't get in his stall there. Christian Peterson out there really quick. You see this gap. It's really going to be hard for Jorgensen to make that up unless we have a caution. But like you just said, Sean Boundy's still out there running around. But you look at Matt Quick, how much faster he is on those new tires. Blowing by that 34 like he's standing still. The one car, Chris Bassini, also right behind him, getting back on the lead lap. Bounty's got to think about coming down. There's no way you can make it here on fuel. So these guys are definitely going to have to come down at least one more time, unfortunately, with that lap 5 or 6 caution happening when they came down initially. I really don't think they can stretch it at all from here.
Boundy continues to stay out, but with that being said, you saw the speed differential between Quick and Passini going up against Sean Boundy. They've unlapped themselves the old-fashioned way, and when Boundy comes down, that will become the battle for the race lead. So as we cross the halfway point in tonight's race, let's take a look at our iRacing midway race break as Sean Boundy gets set to give up the race lead. and he'll come down to get service. This will drop him back in line, and you'll see all those drivers 4th through 9th that are 1 lap down. They'll come back to the lead lap, and we'll get set for the second stint. And for many of these guys now, all the way to the end, the question will remain if those guys that pitted earlier, Quick, Pacini, 2 of the names involved in that conversation, have completed all of their service for the evening. So let's take a look at the iRacing midway race break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and more. Gonna go to the point this time. Matt Quick will be scored as your race leader the next time behind the start-finish line, and you'll find Chris Pacini running in the number 2 spot behind the wheel of the number 1 machine. Christian Peterson, he'll end up in 3rd with Mark Jorgensen Jr. He'll be just behind P5, and a good battle there for what's going to be 4th position. Ryan Pilon, the 41 machine, completing service not all that long ago. He's going to battle him down to turn number 3. Just behind them, Shane McEachin back on the lead lap as the standings continue to shuffle through. The number 28 Javelin machine, he'll take over the number 6 spot. Brandon Chaburko, the final spot on the lead lap, will jump up to the number 7 position, this time at a turn number 4, and reclaim that spot. As everything continues to cycle through, he's scored right now, though, in 8th position. 9th, 1 lap down, Ray Rittenauer behind the wheel of the 87, and right now rounding out your top 10, heavily damaged at the Merchant.
11th right now is Dana Osborne, 3 laps down. 12th goes to Glenn Hedrick. Kelly Dahl, these guys all from 13th on back here, all out of this race right now. Kelly Dahl, one of those drivers we'll be talking to in just a moment. Jared Haggerty in a 14th spot. Larry Camp 15th. 16th to Corey Henry. Rodney Wofford 17th. 18th is James Pileski, and Rod Flagg rounds out this 19 truck field.
This has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com. To sign up today, you could use our LSRTV promo code if you enter PR-2016 LSRTV. When you register for a new iRacing membership, you get the late model free of charge. That comes along with the 13 cars and 14 tracks that are included with the first-time subscription. So as Matt Quick tries to get away in the battle for the race lead now, 9/10 of a second in front of Chris Pacini. We'll toss it back down to Josh Ball. Josh, you're caught up down in the infield with one of the drivers that was involved in that big mess at the beginning of the race. You're down with Kelly Dahl.
Yeah, I'm down here with number 13 of Kelly Dahl, back here by his hauler. Kelly, we saw you get in that mess there, got into the 23 of Jared Haggerty. Unfortunately, just nowhere to go, really. And we saw you try to do a little bit of damage repair, but unfortunately, your night is over.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to get it back out there, but as I started to roll around, I noticed I was way off the pace. I decided to park it instead of being a bigger hazard. I was being out there with 10 miles an hour slower than you're supposed to is not really the safest idea, especially when you're already over 10 laps down. So.
Yeah, that wreck definitely took out a lot of the field. We only got 8 trucks really on the track right now, so. Probably one of the best things you could have done is just stay beyond the field. You're only 13th right now. You'll finish there for the night. Tell me about the truck, though. When you were out on the track, it seemed like people were trying to run the bottom, but it looked like everybody had a lot of speed. Just tried to get too much there, and unfortunately got just took each other out, and then really caused a huge parking lot. Just slid up into the track, and nobody really had anywhere to go.
Well, Highline definitely felt a lot faster than everywhere else, but. You got trucks going 180 miles an hour here that have, the brakes feel almost like wood out there. And when you get a wrecker in the front and you got all these trucks just cruising along, it's definitely going to cause a lot of junk out there. I tried getting it on the brakes when I could, but definitely was not going to be able to get that truck stopped in time. So I tried to shoot a gap that I saw, and unfortunately the gap disappeared.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, your night is done here in the Truck Series. We look forward to later tonight into the second part of our double here on Friday night's iSuper Speedway at Daytona for the B-Main, A-Main style. You got any plans for tonight? I'm not sure if you're in the B-Main or A-Main, but, looking forward to this evening. You have any plans on trying to get the W for the first time this season?
I'm trying to get the W for the first time in my career here, but going to have to race my way through the B main since I wasn't able to make last week's race. Definitely going to just look at what I did last time I raced and see what I can change there, and hopefully I can get up in the front in the B main, use that as a good practice and good warm up, and use the things that I learned in the B main to help me out in the A main.
All right, Kelly. Well, good luck for the B main tonight. We'll let you get ready and get on your plane back to Daytona Beach so you can be ready for that B main. Any sponsors you'd like to thank here before we let you go from the Truck Series?
I'd definitely like to thank Harpoon Designs. He's done all my paint jobs this season. All the cars and the trucks look great. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to put them in the position that those designs definitely deserve.
All right, there again, Kelly Dahl. We're actually he's taking 2 flights tonight. He's going to Talladega after he goes to Daytona, according to Evan. Evan, back up in the booth. Yeah, connecting
I said that
flights.
sounds like Delta.
It does. It sounds like Delta for sure. He got mixed up in his itinerary. But how about you let us know what's going on the track?
I'll tell you what, would it be the first time? We're working our way into the final portions of this race. The 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. running right now P4. We're on 56 of 83 tonight, so inside the final 30 laps of competition. Ryan Pylan tried to mess with him a little bit. He's not all that far off, and Sean Bounty's not all that far off at a 41. So P4, 5, and 6 right now the closest battle of the 8 trucks that remain on the lead lap. But I'm still curious for Matt Quick and Chris Bassini up at the front of the field if they are going to be able to go from that lap 32 or 33 point through 50 laps all the way to the end of this one, Andy, or if we're going to see somebody like a Mark Jorgensen Jr., who right now, he stayed out so much longer after to get to the halfway point. The tire differential, though, cost him so much time. He is 10 seconds behind. If those guys can make it to the end, if the 88's fast enough to get up to him, it's going to be an interesting strategical battle here inside of now what is going to be 26 laps to go.
Yeah, he's been knocking off about a half a second a lap, so he's making up some ground. The problem is he's not making up ground on that 71, and that pit stop mistake for that 88 there, sliding through a stall, that definitely cost him big time right now, and it's showing on the board 6 seconds behind Christian Peterson. He actually came down to pit road about a second or two ahead of that 71, so that mistake right there pretty much just cost him that. And we talked about as the one in the 89, or no, the 89 makes his way to pit road for his final stop. But we talked about, not making a mistake and losing the race, and that's exactly, I think, what that 88 did, barring a caution here late.
So Quick comes down, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. He's going to have the fresher tires, sure, but you better get up on the wheel. And that tells me that they had the advantage. They just wouldn't be able to make it. Look at Christian Peterson, the 71. He'll lock him up down to the line. What a move. He passes Chris Bassini, the Pennzoil Chevy, getting checked up by the center of the corner to come down, and a 71 just outdrove him.
Yeah, and really, I think what Peterson thought was, those laps really did not help me, staying out there. I can't make it to the end. I better come down when these two do if I have a fighting chance. Mark Jorgensen's still out there on his own, probably hoping for a caution at this point. It's his only saving grace. Both of those guys, Christian Peterson and Chris Bassini, got down there pretty well. It doesn't look like any penalties will be assessed on them, so great stop so far. Really, it's going to be between Quick. He's coming down, about to cross the checkered flag line right now. Bassini just coming off pit road, and Peterson going. It's going to be close once they get back going on full speed here.
And he's going to try to match up with the other guys that are on the same strategy as him. But with that, Mark Jorgensen Jr. does go to the point. So feels good to know that we were somewhat correct in our assumptions, Andy, that those guys weren't going to be able to pull 50 laps out of it. But I think they might have been caught off guard by the strategy that Jorgensen took to make it to the halfway point. I'm not sure how tight the fuel number was, but that early caution flag, while it was just a couple of laps into the race, may have allowed that 88 to make it a little bit further on fuel to cut this thing in half. He is now in front. He's no longer chasing his tires, just like they were when those guys pitted just after 30 laps and he waited to the halfway point, are at a big disadvantage. But I think he's got a big enough time gap that might not be an issue. We'll see. The 88 this time at a turn 4. He's at the start-finish line. Pyland behind will look for an interval. It was 2.7 last time to 2.9 this time, so he's got no issues with the guys on the same strategy as him. We got to find out where those guys that are going to be on fresh tires are, and they're all more than 1 lap behind him. So barring a yellow, which would be bad news, or any big issues, as we got a close call that time, as Pyland gets out of shape out of 2. The faster trucks of the 71 of Peterson, of the 34 of Bounty, all go by on the inside of the racetrack. Bounty making a move for P2. Mark Jorgensen Jr., if we stay green, is in fairly good shape. We'll have to see.
Yeah, you look at the other 2 fast guys, Matt Quick and Christian Peterson, and those guys, one being 1 lap down and only 20 laps left to go in this one, there's absolutely no way that they're going to get around the leader and then chase them all back down again on a 1.5-mile racetrack. Just won't happen. If Mark Jorgensen Jr. can make it to the end, this is basically his race to win, and he would we would obviously say he definitely lucked out with that bad pit stop that he had.
So inside of the final 20 laps, it's cat versus mouse. Bounty, Pyland, they've got nothing for him. Matt Quick, Christian Peterson, they are still an entire lap behind. So they were kind of forced to come down to the pit lane. If they had enough fuel to make it to the end, it would have been a hell of a battle to the end. I think they might have had the advantage, but the numbers just don't line up. And we'll see now what happens, because Jorgensen going to be coming down pit road. So the Tracker Boat Chevrolet does come in 1 additional time, which I was not expecting, Andy, because he was able to make it past the halfway point on his first cent of fuel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean,
he went
obviously
43
came down
laps before he came down pit road.
Exactly. So this is kind of interesting to see, and I don't know if he's doing it because of tires or what the call is, but we know how long Sean Bounty stayed out. I highly doubt you'll see him come back down pit road.
So Bounty out there now, we'll see what this position it puts him in, but a little bit of late strategy that we weren't expecting. Sees Pyland now coming from second, so Sean Bounty now trying to defy all the odds and make it as far as anybody else has and try to stretch it out to the end. Just shy of the halfway point was not enough for the number 88. The last time we saw Sean Bounty in pit road, lap number 46. And again, they came down for service at lap 4 or 5 under the yellow. So you're looking at making it about 39 laps on fuel. When he came down pit road, there was about 37 to go. So he might be at that 2 or 3 lap advantage from pitting a little bit later. May put him in the catbird seat. We'll still wait and see. Closing in on 15 laps to go, and the 34, the only one remaining that has not come down pit road for a second time under green. Everybody has completed at least 2 stops, including the first stop under the yellow.
Yeah, and it's really going to come down, I think, to that 89 and 71. Between Quick and Peterson, they're only about 0.4 of a second separating those 2 trucks right now. They're 25 seconds back, 24 seconds back at the line now. But the 89 just barely touched the wall going into 2. The 71's real close to him. This is going to be the battle on the speedway for the race lead once that 34 comes in. I really don't think, Evan, that he can really make it. So I'm thinking you're looking at the top 2 running right here. You got Chris Bassini just about 2 seconds behind them. Jorgensen around 7 to 8 seconds behind them. But I think this is going to be the battle for the lead and for the win back here.
We'll see. They are making up a little bit of time on Bounty. There's no question they're not going to be able to catch up to him unless the 34 does not have enough fuel to make it all the way through to the end of this race. But Quick, second time, pushed up a little bit this time in turn number 2. Can't quite find the consistency that Christian Peterson is having, and I'm sure the 89 feels the pressure from the 71 coming up behind him. Lap traffic can hold the outside lane. The 71 to the inside. Not that time. He'll try to force his way to the top side, and the 89 drives the 71 to the fence. He'll shut the door. Battle is going on hard for P2.
That's a great battle for that second position right there. Look at Peterson looking again to the inside, unable to make it happen right there, and he's just going to continue to push that 89 now. Try to basically how hard it is to pass somebody on that bottom side. You see him looking now here off of turn number 4 for that once again. He has to get him clear before he gets to turn number 1 for this pass to be able to work. Looks like it's going to be awfully close, and he's going to get it done right here. So great job by Christian Peterson. What a great pass there for that second spot.
It's funny, that's the move that Matt Quick had been putting on people all night long, and this time the number 71 of his sheet is able to make it up in front, and now Christian Peterson makes the move to the number 2 position. It was interesting to see the P-Money Design Chevrolet, Josh, look to the outside of the racetrack on a quick. We know the outside, the preferred passing lane, but it's so difficult to get enough of a run on somebody to get to their outside. Obviously, you're going the longer way around the racetrack. When you dive to the inside, you've got the advantage of almost cutting the corner a little bit. Peterson tried it, didn't work, but he perfectly executed that slide job, if you will, ducking to the inside, coming up just in time. He gets the P2. 19.7 seconds is a daunting task. Sean Bounty has plenty of time to work with to back off of that truck to make sure the fuel numbers make it to the end.
Yeah, he does. And Sean Bounty, what I'm hearing through his spotter is he may have enough to go to the end. This is going to be really interesting. He's been giving up a lot of time these last couple laps. He's still got an 18-second lead, so that's still plenty of time to give. He is 10 to go at the line right there, so currently still holds an 18-second lead over Christian Peterson, Matt Quick, and he's running about a second and a half slower right now than those two, but that really doesn't matter. 10 laps, that doesn't compute, Evan. That's around 13 seconds maybe, even if he stays on his slowing streak. So I look, if Sean Bounty could just hold on, not getting into trouble, not hit a wall or anything, he may be our winner here tonight.
And watch out for other trucks on track as well. Inside of the final 10 laps to go, 9 that time by. At the start-finish line, the 20 machine, fresher tires, no question Shane McEachin easily going to be able to get back around. McEachin now runs just 1 lap to the negative in the number 6 spot. Schuberko also 1 lap down in P5. Peterson, Quick, Piscini, 2, 3, and 4 of the drivers on the lead lap with Sean Bounty up at the front of the field. And he has a big advantage because Andy A, not only does he have help from the guys on top of the pit box making the calls for him and strategizing and figuring out the game plan, but he can watch the numbers inside that truck, how many gallons of fuel he's using up every single lap time. He knows exactly how many gallons of fuel is left in that truck, so he can continue to monitor those numbers and really run it so he's got nothing left right when he hits the checkered line, which is good because down to 14.2 seconds, you can tell that he's definitely trying to balance those two things.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think the time, there's just too much time right there. Even if he backs it down even a little bit more to make it on the last couple of laps, he'll still be all right. So he's looking good right now. He crosses the start-finish line right there, and he's only going to have about 7 laps left to get this thing done. So these other guys, they'd have to make up 2 seconds a lap as of right now to make it to at least catch him. That's not to pass him, that's to catch him. So I think Sean Bounty's right now doing what he does best, and that's saving some fuel and getting the job done.
87 to the inside. Ray Rittenauer also going to unlap himself. He'll go from 2 laps down to 1 lap down in the number 7 spot. 11 trucks of the 19 that started tonight still on the racetrack all the way through. Osborne, Ryan Pylan, the number 41 machine, just brought it down pit road 2 laps ago. So now 9 trucks still out on the racetrack. Dana Osborne in 10th position also out there, but he's got a lot of damage. So nothing happening that last time by. Sean Bounty, 32.5, a 31.1 for Christian Peterson. Peterson doesn't have to worry much about Matt Quick unless he makes a mistake. The 71 has been a little bit quicker in that battle, and you see Quick about 1 second back, exactly 1 second back the last time around. Chris Bassini might make it fun and battle for 3rd. Sean Bounty continues the balancing act this time by inside of the window that the caution flag would end this race. So that 34 is Sean Bounty. He can see that checkered flag in sight.
Yeah, once again, everybody else needs at least 2 seconds a lap or more to catch him. Last lap only a 1.3 once again. Looking good so far, Evan, but you got the 87 of Rittenauer. It looks like he's staying behind him really here. He tried to pass him, and his first career win, he's a rookie in this series actually. His first career win came earlier this year in iSuper Speedway, but he has yet to win here in the Roddcar Truck Tour, so this would be a great accomplishment for him tonight.
And you see the 87 machine behind him. The gap now goes inside of 10 seconds. Rittenauer not forcing the issue. He waits until he can get in the center of the corner to make the move. They want to make sure that they don't find each other anywhere near the exit of the turn. This time by, lap 80 goes into the books. Just 3 laps to go at the Kansas Speedway. Peterson going to shave a little bit more time off. He goes down to the grass. The gap this time by goes to 9.1 to 8.1. Still at that distance. Sean Bounty has plenty of time to back it off. And I think if there was any question of being short on fuel by a lap or two, he's had plenty of time. He's given up over 10 seconds of time, indeed, to get enough fuel to the end. It looks like he might just be able to stretch it out to the end. We have seen in the past, though, some guys run out of fuel on the final laps of these races, so you can't call it before it's done. But Sean Bounty has a couple of things working for him, and the ability to give up time to back off the truck as much as he had is certainly a huge luxury that he's utilizing.
Oh, he has to utilize it right now, and he's got to be careful with these faster guys coming up behind him, like Mark Jorgensen Jr. now making the pass to get himself one of those laps back. Now he's in that 8th spot, but Sean Bounty, he's getting it done right now, and he's going to see the white flag this time. Final lap. He's only got 1.5 miles to do it, and he's got 7 seconds to hold him off.
The white flag waves. The next flag could end the race, and we go on with that 34 of Sean Bounty one more time down into turns 1 and 2. A little bit of traffic in front of him. Ray Rittenauer, Mark Jorgensen Jr. not going to be a factor, and with a 6-second advantage back to Christian Peterson, who's going to have to fight for P2 behind Sean Bounty from 14th on the grid and all the way at the back of the line in the practice session. He'll play the strategy game to the T. First career Roddcar Truck Tour win. Checkered flag waves, and the winner at Kansas.
What an awesome job right there. Just snookering everybody. Just got them all. And, I wouldn't say that Matt Quick's strategy was bad. I don't think Mark Jorgensen Jr.'s strategy along with Chris Peterson was bad. They tried. They did what they thought they needed to do. And Sean Bounty did what he thought he needed to do to get the win. And did he have a faster truck than the 71 or the 88 over the course of the night? Probably not, but he played his cards just right. He's going to get his first career win, so that was a pretty good showing right there for that doyourpart.org truck.
He gets set to burn it down, and Josh, I'd argue that he stuckered us too, because we were talking about the pit strategy that we were going to see from Jorgensen. We thought Jorgensen was good. He came in at lap number 41. At 42 is when he exited the pit lane. Sean Bounty stayed out 4 additional laps. That was the difference, and because of that, we were talking about the 88 in front who couldn't make it. The 34 kind of flew under the radar, and he almost just kind of fell into that win, but that strategy call definitely is what got the job done for him.
Yeah, he definitely snookered me with his strategy there. I did not think he could make it, and he pulled it off. It was a great run for Sean tonight. A lot of green flag runs allow you to get some strategy into the equation there, and that was what won Sean the night tonight, as he's still burning it down there on the front stretch after getting his first win here in Roddcar Truck Tour. I'm sure he's pretty excited. So. But, the top 3 actually stayed the same, but we'll go down through the rundown of the field here after we come back from this commercial.
And a 34 gets a congratulatory bump, and now that he's got a win in both series on Friday nights of the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series, which comes at you in just about 50 minutes here on LSRTV for the second part of our Friday night double feature, and now the Truck Tour as well. The question becomes, when you get your second one. We'll talk with him in just a moment. Back live at Kansas Speedway when we return for the LSRTV post-race show. You're watching the Roddcar Truck Tour on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We're back live at the Kansas Speedway for the LSRTV post-race show. The Kansas 125 goes in favor of Sean Bounty. Let's take a look at tonight's full race results. The 34 taking home the checkered flag. Christian Peterson going to extend onto the championship points lead after he beats all comers behind him. DeMerchant, Wofford, Malone flag nowhere to be seen inside of the top 5. It's a good night for the 71 who comes home into P2. At Christmas Eve rounds out your top 3 on the podium. We'll speak with those 3 in just a moment. Final driver on the lead lap, the number 4 spot. Going to go to the 89 of Matt Quick. Brandon Chiburko in 5th. Shane McEachin in 6th. And Ray Rittenauer in 7th. All come home. Just 1 lap down. 2 laps down for P8 Mark Jorgensen Jr. Seth the Merchant coming home at 9th. Final driver active on the racetrack to round out your top 10 is Dana Osborne.
Off the race early, Ryan Pilen here, late in the going, I should say, finishes 11th. 12th goes to Glenn Hedrick. Corey Henry finishes at 13th spot. 14th goes to Rodney Wofford. Jared Haggerty will finish 15th. Rod Flagg will finish 16th. Kelly Dahl, Larry Camp, and James Pileski round out the 19 truck field here. All those guys involved in that first wreck early in the race.
Sean Bounty going to pick up his first career Roddcar Truck Tour win tonight, and he steals it away from him. The gap going to be 5.3 seconds, but it's all said and done. But a fuel strategy game puts the 34 Chevrolet atop of Mullen and victory lane tonight. Sean, first off, congratulations. First time you're rocking into a Roddcar Truck Tour victory lane.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun playing the strategy call. That first caution right at the beginning of the run, I wasn't sure about the fuel run. I didn't get much practice into test fuel, but after that first restarted, several laps in, I was following Jorgensen, and we were running 1-2, and I was noticing his pace and just kept recalculating the fuel, and it didn't change the consistency of the fuel, so I knew exactly 38 laps on fuel, and I started calculating from the end of the race to where the nearest place I could pit for 1 stop left, and just went that 1 extra lap and barely got into pit road, took 2 tires, full tank, and just kind of ran my own race and just conserved every single lap. I knew how much I needed to run, and as soon as I saw those leaders in front of me pit 2 laps before what was necessary to finish, I knew this race was over as soon as as long as there was no caution. So just had to maintain, and it was a really nice fuel strategy race there.
We know that the numbers were so tight. How big of a factor was that early caution flag? It was the only one that we saw all night, not only to kind of set up those fuel numbers for you, and I wonder what that maybe changed in your strategy for the night overall, but as well helping you guys get a lot of track position by not being involved, because that was a pretty big pileup in 2.
Yeah, well, I was just really fortunate to barely dodge it, trying to be hard on the brakes and not get run over from behind. It just barely made a hole. But the caution there at the beginning, that was pretty much huge. It allowed me to set the pace for that fuel strategy, because without it, we were definitely gonna have to run a longer run on that first stint and then do a second. The first pit stop much later and still do a second one, and we'd be on pace with everybody else, and we'd just be racing hard for the race. But with that short caution, it allowed me to stretch to make sure I got to that mark where I was only allowed 1 more stop left.
And by doing so, you line it up perfectly, and our eyes were on. We knew there was a little bit of a strategy play in play. We were looking at the 88 of Jorgensen, who was out in front. Do you feel like maybe not being in front of the field at that point kind of helped you out because you flew under the radar, I'll tell you, from our analysis of what was going on field. Do you think that kind of helped you kind of mask what you were doing from some of the other guys for catching on?
Honestly, I didn't think about it too much. I was so focused on every lap. I was calculating so much that I started telling myself, okay, calculate every 3 laps, and where was I from there? And it started, all the other competitors just kind of started disappearing on the track. I didn't care how fast they were going. The faster they went, the better. The better it played into my favor. And as long as I knew I could make it or I was close, then yeah, I really just didn't care about what anybody else was doing. Like I said, I was following Jorgensen a little bit after that first run, and I went from second to, I think, back to 5th or 6th, and just kind of held my own race, and eventually the tires wore off, and doing my own thing, just coincidentally saved tires and started reeling the guys back in. So it just happened to play out that they wanted to race hard and run their feel out, so I just stuck to my plan.
Well, you're doing good for the somewhat limited schedule. Out of the drivers in the championship right now, Christian Peterson extends at his point lead tonight with 11 races counted so far. You're the highest running driver in the championship with just 8 races of points currently being accounted for. And tonight's win, 4th top 5 on the season, is enough to push you into the top 10 in the championship through 12 races, Sean. So before we let you go, there's sponsors, the shout-outs you'd want to give a call to, because I know you got to strap back in here in just about 45 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. We got, Do Your Part on the Hood. Love having them on board. We got Mount Holly Band. I don't say much about them, but go check out their band. It's a really awesome thing that I support, and I help work with them, Nick Perry, and these wonderful guitars that he makes and the music that he does. So I've always got him on board my truck. And LSRTV for putting these broadcasted races on and just having a good time in the Roddcar Truck Series.
I'll tell you what, you threw us a curveball tonight. We enjoyed it, so thank you for sticking around. Congratulations on your first career win, and we hope that maybe a good run tonight when we talk with you later on.
10-4, thank you. Woo!
That's Sean Bounty, the driver of the number 34 Chevrolet Andy, now a winner in both the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series and as well tonight getting the checkered flag in the Roddcar Truck Tour. The driver that saw some encouraging numbers at the end as the gap began to shrink and shrink, but really knew that it wasn't a realistic shot at it. Stuck at a spot where nowhere to go. Christian Peterson gets the best that the strategy could offer him. He comes home P2. The good news is, though, it's going to extend his championship lead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Evan. With the second place finish, with all the trouble that everyone else had early in this race, it definitely made for some great points night for Christian Peterson. And Christian, second place, you're close to running him down. Obviously needed a few more laps to get it done, but were you kind of surprised that the fuel strategy that 34 was able to play out?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I was catching him like a madman at the end, but there just wasn't enough laps. So, I kind of expected him that he was going to make it. But all in all, yeah, like you said, it was a good points race, so I'm happy about it. It was good. He had a good drive, man. I can't, you can't take anything away from him, even though he won with fuel mileage. He put himself in the position that he needed to, and it was good.
That absolutely was. We thought somebody was going to be able to play it close. Weren't sure if you and the 88 were going to be able to make it, but obviously you guys coming down the pit road there with about 20 to go kind of signified your guys' strategy there. So obviously it didn't work out completely, but you got to be obviously, like we talked about, pretty happy with that second place finish with all the trouble that everyone else had in the point standings here tonight. So with that said, we get to move on to the next race in about 45 minutes, but we'll give you the opportunity for sponsor shout-outs, Christian, and who helps you get that 71 truck to the track.
Yeah, just everybody at 6, man. Rod for putting on the league, and you guys for doing the broadcast. Look forward to the next race, guys.
As do we all. Look forward to the next one coming up as the chase gets even that much closer. Congratulations again, second place finish, and I'll throw it up the pit lane here to Josh Ball and caught up with our third place finisher.
Yeah, I'm down here with Chris Bassini, number 1. Got the pass on the second to last lap around Matt Quick to the rookie down here on pit road. Everybody wants me to still call you that, Chris, but great night out there
rookie,
tonight.
Don't worry about it. Yellow car, yellow stripes, it all works.
Third place finish, pretty good night for you.
Yeah, I'll take it. I was just kind of cruising around at the end. I was happy with 4th place because I'm usually up in the spotter stand for Rodney, so I'm not really out here too much, but I love Kansas, so came out, and all of a sudden I saw the 89 I guess he tapped the wall and got loose in front of me. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to get third. I was happy to cruise where I was, but I'll take one more spot.
Well, talk to me about this starting shotgun on the field, that big wreck, basically a parking lot there coming out of turn 2. That one truck able to survive that and get around. Tell me what you saw and how you were able to get around there.
Well, I saw a lot of smoke. Pretty much, I saw it start to happen in the middle of the turn. Everybody was getting way too close to each other, so I started actually letting off early. And then when I saw them all collide, I just nailed the brakes and went down low as around I thought would be good, but I ended up getting a little piece of it, and I couldn't get all that damage fixed, but it wasn't bad enough where it hurt me on the long run, so I'll take it. The whole game of starting in the back was to survive, and I did.
Yeah, with finishing around less than 5 cars on the lead lap there, definitely a good strategy for you there tonight, Chris. Looking forward here in a little bit, 45 minutes or so in the B main tonight. You're going to have to work your way through up to the A main. Looking to get towards chase time. About 3 races left before iSuper Chase starts. Got any strategies looming for this evening?
Well, basically, I'm in a points race right now, so I gotta kind of play it safe and wait to pick and choose my battles, because I'm in a 5-way battle for about 3 spots right now, so I gotta play it smart.
Yeah, you do. Before we let you go there, Chris, any sponsors, shout-outs you'd like to thank here for the Roddcar Truck Tour?
Oh, the Virtual Pennzoil, the virtual CEO, he loves me. He loves sponsoring my truck and car. I'm a shout out to my dad. He always watches. So, Dad, if you're not watching right now, hey, top 3. My wife, who lets me do this on Friday nights. You guys up in the booth. Rod for putting this on. My entire team over at Dark Horse. Rodney, Corey, Derek, and Greg. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Down here with the excited Chris Bassini, third on tonight here in the Roddcar Truck Tour. Once again, pretty excited to get that 3rd place finish. Looking to do better on there later, Evan. And we'll throw it back to you for a conclusion.
He's cashing them virtual checks, and I'm sure he's enjoyed it. P3 tonight. Matt Quick in 4th. Only 4 drivers finished on the lead lap. And I'll repeat again, as I said earlier, Andy, A, due in part to the fact that we saw huge junk in the opening 5 laps, but B, because it is Kansas. We didn't expect this race to go green. We knew that when a race goes green like this, and especially when you take a lot of trucks out of the equation, that strategy could be a big part of it. Did Sean Powndy have the fastest truck on speed? No. Did he outsmart everybody? Yes, and he earned this win. It was an exciting one. Christian Peterson builds on the points lead, so while he would have liked to win, and I'm sure it kind of leaves a bad taste in his mouth that he loses one on a strategy call like that, because the teams that are up there in the points, they like to think that they're on top of the calls and stuff. You just got beat on this one, but it's good for him. He grows to championship lead by a couple more points. He's now 10 points in front of teammate Seth Merchant second. They're now 34 points, so over a race in front of Rodney Wofford, who is 3rd place in the championship standing. So good news for the guys that come home 1-2 tonight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's one of them things when you lose to a guy who out-snookered you in the strategy department. You get a little disappointed. You almost say, they didn't earn it or they didn't do that. But you know what? If it was flipped the other way and you got the win, you'd be awfully happy that you did get the win, and you would be happy that you outsmarted the rest of the field. So it is a tough one to swallow, especially when you do have the fastest car. But we always. How many times in any race, doesn't matter which track, the fastest car or truck doesn't always win the race. And tonight was a great case of that, but at the same time, a great job done by that 34 in his rookie season too as well. So he's been able to pick up a win in both series, which is pretty cool here on Friday nights.
And the good news is we let the drivers take off, Josh. We don't have to go through a connecting flight in Daytona, but we're excited because Talladega, second part of tonight's coverage, race number 13 on the Season 6 Championship. It's going to be an exciting one because it is the final feature race at Talladega on the year. The next feature we'll see at Dega going to be coming for race number 19 and in the second round of the iSuper Chase. 24-lap B main, 47-lap A main. Give us a little bit of a teaser for what we're going to be seeing here in about 35 minutes right here on LSRTV.
Really, when you get talking about these feature races, Evan, it's pretty much go from the start. I mean, there's no resets, but it's a short one compared to our endurance races now. Endurance races anywhere from 81 laps to 150. So we got a pretty short night tonight, 47 laps for the A main. A couple guys will transfer in from the B. You got a pretty close battle, just as Chris Bassini was talking about. There's a couple of guys right there hovering around that 10th place without a win. They're trying to get into the chase as much as possible. Last season's champion, Seth the Merchant, without a win, sits 15th in points. He's about 38 points out of the chase right now, so he's definitely look forward to that. And Couple of guys just barely squeaking in. Sean Bounty's in the chase, as we just talked about. A great win on him here tonight. But it's going to be exciting. I expect I think a new winner will come out of tonight's race.
The ever so important win and you're in is going to be ever so crucial. Just 3 more opportunities to punch your ticket into the 6th installment of the Ice Super Speedway Championship. The Ice Super Chase begins on May the 13th right here on LSRTV. But tonight, in just about 30 minutes, we're going to be live at the Talladega Super Speedway for feature race number 13 on the season. You're not going to want to miss it because it's down to crunch time. And these guys come down to the final 5 laps of that feature. They know that it's all going to be on the line, and they might just have to get a little bit more physical than normal, which is saying something if they want an opportunity to be called a champion in just about 2 months' time. So that does it here for the moment from the Kansas Speedway. We'll be back on the air next Friday for the continuing coverage of our Friday night doubleheaders. The Roddcar Truck Tour are going to be back at it again from Fontana's Auto Club Speedway for the 13th event of 18 in this second season championship. So we step away and bid you good night from Kansas City. We'll see you in just a little bit. On behalf of everybody behind the scenes at LSRTV LLC and for the broadcast team tonight, for myself, Evan Pizzoco, for Andy Kessler, for Josh Ball, and for our producer, Cisco Scarhoza, I want to thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to first-time Roddcar Truck Tour winner Sean Bounty. We'll see you at Talladega at 10 o'clock Eastern. Part 2 coming up next at LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this event may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing TV.